We should be, yeah, we're live now, so we're recording, so we're good.
Okay, great. Well, unfortunately, there's only three of us here for this one. So, does anybody want to? I'll take over, kind of moderating the discussion, I guess. Does anybody want to give an opening prayer?
I can do it.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful this evening to be together and meeting as a group and discussing this case study. We ask you to have Thy Spirit to be with us so we can get the most out of this discussion and make it effective. We're grateful for everything that was given us, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Nathan. So this week we were discussing, or we were supposed to do our write-up on the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. What were you guys' overall thoughts about the Ritz-Carlton?
Well, the company's started, the company idea, realistically, not the actual company itself, but the idea started out really earlier than I thought it did. Um, Before the 1900s when he kind of got the idea of possibly doing it, but I think his company overall, the company itself seems to be in really good shape and has great standards and knows what it's doing and has been very successful. So I think overall there wasn't a lot of problems that I saw. There's a couple here and there that I could think that might things could be done better, not necessarily problems, but things that might change. But beyond that, I think they've done a really good job.
Yeah, I feel like their company has really good, strong, like core values, and they've been able to maintain those over time. And I don't know, I wasn't really able to find too many problems either. It didn't really seem like it was highlighted with issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it was,
Hi guys, can you hear me?
yeah, I thought it was kind of cool to kind of read through it and see how they were able to get to that point.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was interesting. I didn't realize that they didn't really own the hotels, that they were just kind of like a management company almost, and just lent their name to the hotel, that another group actually built and owned the hotel. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I had always thought that it was the Ritz-Carlton that built and owned the hotels. So they want us. So what are the main issues that we think? I mean, I think we all agree that there wasn't really many problems, but there were a few issues. What do we think those kind of are? Like what the hint here is, what are kind of the technical and organizational issues that we could have seen? So I guess I'll start with one of mine. I feel like they hadn't ever really done a property like this before. So while they're really great at opening hotels, I think it's going to be a little bit different because not only are they opening a hotel, but they're opening a residential side of it as well, with condos and such. And so what works well for the hotel might not work for somebody where it's their as well for somebody where it's their actual home. And I think that could produce some organizational problems as well because people are used to working for at the hotel where the guest comes in, he might stay a few days, maybe a week, and then they're gone. Where with the residential side, you're probably working for the same person for your entire career there, as long as you stay there. So I think it might lend itself to some organizational problems where in the residential side they might want the same person or they might not like the same person and they might request that somebody not work for them anymore. So it could create some issues, I think.
Yeah, I kind of skimmed through this case study just because I got home so late, but I was kind of thinking on the same regards to you, Mike, on that was, the the property thing is, definitely I thought was an issue, because my thing is when I understand it's important to probably have a company that can manage your hotels, but you also want to be careful in that because you are a company, you established your company, you want it run certain ways. So I think if as long as you have the majority control over your company still and it's still going the way you want it to go, I think you're okay, but you just don't want to all of a sudden just say, okay, I'm giving you all power. You got to be really careful in that regards. And I think that's some kind of not necessarily issue that I saw yet, but I could see it happening, you know? And so I think that's one of the issues that I kind of wrote down on my case study discuss on my write up was just be really careful what you're thinking here. It's good to have a company to kind of take care of the properties and all the maintenance and things like that, so you don't have to worry about it on a day-to-day basis and just pay them to do it. But you also got to be careful to make sure that they're doing it the way you want it done, because if something were to go wrong or they did something wrong that you weren't expecting to do, it can make a bad reputation on your company. So that was something that I saw.
I think it actually kind of helps the company that owns the hotel, because if Ritz-Carlton does something bad, then it makes Ritz-Carlton look bad, not them.
Yeah.
Um, I think that that the company that owns the hotel is trying, along with what you were saying, they're trying to assert a little bit more control, with the 7-day launch thing.
Hmm.
And I think that could become an issue because I don't think Ritz-Carlton's really used to having somebody question their tactics because they're so good. I mean, they've got it down to a T. So
Right.
The next question here is, what is the Ritz-Carlton's competitive advantage? What do we think their competitive advantage is?
That was a tricky one.
Yeah.
So for me, I think their competitive advantage is they're the best in the business at service. I think in the case discussion, it kept talking about how they are the standard bearer in the industry for the best service all the time. And so I think that, if you go to like a Hampton Inn or something, you're not going to get the kind of service that you're going to get from the Ritz-Carlton. It's just on another level. So I think that's kind of their competitive advantage. And that's one of the reasons why they can charge more money, along with having a much nicer hotel.
Right.
Next question is, what is the Ritz selling?
What is the what?
What is the Ritz-Carlton selling? So I think it goes back to the same thing. They're selling service, I think.
Well, they're selling service, but they're also selling. Um, if you kind of think about it, they're kind of selling. Um, I don't know how really to explain it, but
They're selling status.
they're selling status, but they're also selling, hey, hotel wise, brand wise, they're selling luxury, they're selling peace of mind and comfort, basically, kind of all in one, because that's what their hotels are. They're a luxury hotel. They're a little bit higher end hotel. They're pretty much saying, hey, we want your business. We want you to come. We also want you to know that you're not going to find a place like Ritz-Carlton. Ritz-Carlton is Ritz-Carlton. We're unique because of this. So they're really selling themselves. They're selling their company as themselves. They're selling the Ritz-Carlton, basically. They're selling their image. And, I think that's, where I got with that. So.
I like it. Anyone else?
I think they try to give people kind of more of like an experience more than just just a hotel suite for the night or whatever. It's more of just they try to go above and beyond and kind of give them a more luxury kind of experience. I don't know.
I agree with you. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a different experience staying somewhere like that than it is at your bargain brand place.
Yeah.
So the next topic is, how does the Ritz create ladies and gentlemen in only 7 days?
Okay.
Mm.
So I thought their training program was pretty awesome. Right from trying to find people. I mean, you've got the general manager of the entire hotel, and it's an $800 million hotel. So you've got the head of an $800 million company
Hmm.
going out to restaurants in the area, at other hotels, and to fine dining restaurants, and just going out to eat so that he can find the right waiters, and then giving them a card saying, "Hey, the service you gave me was great. Here on the back of the card it said, here's how you couldn't get a job at the Ritz. Come see me." I thought that was awesome. And then I also thought it was cool that they, because of where it was in Washington, D.C., that kind of city, they looked at for talent in other big cities as well, like New York, Los Angeles, other places where there was a Ritz, as well as the local people. And then they had the route to the Ritz-Carlton from the train station marked with the pink bows or whatever, so they knew how to get there. And they had people in full dress uniform telling them where to go to get to the Ritz-Carlton. And I think it said they had like 1,600 people show up for the job fair that day. I thought that was pretty amazing. And then they take them through the Ritz-Carlton 7-day training experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
So what are some examples of how the 7-day launch thing works?
Hmm.
I think that it was very intensive. I mean, just in 2 days, I think that they receive all the training about the facilities or about like the work programs, and then the rest of the day they start to like practicing their own activities in their own areas. But well, I don't know. I think that it was very intensive, and sometimes maybe it was um, it was not enough for all the people, for all the new people to learn of all their activities. I don't know, what do you think?
Absolutely. I like all of the different layers that they have. So first they come in, the CEO talks to them. Then the next day they're like in full uniform and they're doing mock servings of dinner, mock servings of bringing somebody into somebody's room. They teach them how to speak to somebody. They teach them what to say, what's
Yeah,
expected of them,
yeah,
who the kind of people that they're going to be serving are, and then but on the other side they tell them, look, you guys deserve to be treated just as well as in this case, the ambassadors and important people that you're going to be serving deserve to be treated.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how would you describe the leadership and values of the Ritz-Carlton? Give us some strengths and weaknesses.
Mm,
So I guess I'll go again. The biggest one that I saw was that they promote and hire from within. You have the ability to advance, right? The CEO used to be a server or whatever, and they really pride themselves on being a place where somebody can have a career and not just a job.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what. When I was reading a little bit further down, like in the human resources area and kind of that area, it seems like not only are they trying to draw customers in and have the best experience possible, you know, they're also trying to do that for their employees. You know, they're trying to keep a retention ratio. They're trying to keep people from, want to stay there long term, want to make it a career, like you said, Mike. I think that was pretty cool on how that company is valued, how that, really where they're at. The good companies out there, big and strong companies that are out there, are companies that have loyal and very good employees that stay with them for a very long time. And it's very hard to find a lot of companies like that. There are good companies out there, but they're not companies like Ritz-Carlton or some other companies out there that take good care of their employees and want them to stay long term.
I feel like they did great with just keeping a high quality of just like good customer service, like going above and beyond. I feel like that was kind of the biggest focus, and the image of the customer was just really like transformed for them. I think there was like a story of like the owner when he was a child or something like that. Like the image that he had of the people coming into the hotels and stuff was what he was trying to convey to the new employees and stuff. Just as really people, like almost like royalty, people that needed to be treated as the best that you can and stuff like that. So, and I feel like that kind of value and that kind of belief or whatever for the business was just something that they tried to continue on. And I feel like that's something that's really helped lead them to a lot of success.
Absolutely. Do we see any weaknesses in their leadership or values?
Not really. I did anyway.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that I found very many weaknesses. It seems like a company I would want to work for.
Yeah.
So we're down to a few last questions here since we don't have as many people as normal. It's going pretty quick. This topic is, what do we think about McBride? Should McBride lengthen the amount of time spent training? So should he advance it for more than 7 days? Why or why not in detail, it says here.
I don't think they should extend the training out. I kind of like what they have. It's like quick and really involved. But I do feel like they should do some type of follow-up because the interview process is really thorough, and then the training. But then if they don't follow up, a couple weeks later or something, you don't know how that employee is really handling, the routine and all that after giving them some time. So I really liked everything. I would just say there needs to be some type of follow-up program as well.
Interesting. So my take was for this project, and it also said they were going to open a similar one in a few months in Georgetown, that they need to change the training program a little bit. And maybe it needs to be longer, maybe it doesn't, but they need to, I think the hotel part they've got down, like I said before, but they need to train people in the residential side of it, because those people are different and they're there every single day. Mm-hmm. And I think they need to bring in somebody that works for a high-rise in maybe New York or somewhere like London or Japan, or somebody that knows what it's like to be a doorman and a personal concierge or a butler or somebody, because that's what these people I think are going to want. And so I think they need to be able to train their employees on that side of it as well. And I think they need to add that part of the program. Maybe it doesn't need to be longer than 7 days, but they need to add somebody that knows how to do that side of the business.
That would be good. Actually, something that I put in my in my case study paper was just that I noticed that they were operating at a really low level, during training and stuff, not bringing in that many people. I feel like if they were to bring on some other people, like you said, like maybe from other areas that were more experienced, or even from their own hotel, I don't know, people that were just really well trained that could, fill in some spots or help, that they could kind of boost their numbers a little bit and not have to slack so much to get the training done. But I like that one. That's a good one to do.
Awesome. So, for those of us who think that we should keep it as it is, what expectations do we think customers have for the Ritz-Carlton that just opened? What do you think their expectations might be?
I don't think their expectations are going to lower at all compared to, like what their regular hotels are doing on a daily basis, They're building the Ritz-Carlton, another Ritz-Carlton, because they want to keep establishing their company. They want to keep making that image strong. So I think their goal when they open this one is to start out with a bang, like like their company is. Start from day one. Prove that that's who you are, the Ritz-Carlton.
I agree with you 100%. They're not gonna. They don't care if it just opened.
Yep.
They're gonna want the same service they had at the Ritz-Carlton in Japan when they were there, or in China, or whatever.
Yeah.
How much training in general do we think should be done on the job?
I think there should be, a good amount of training, especially because you just don't know what you're going to get out of a new employee. You just don't know what to expect. You want to be able to get enough training that everybody that comes in knows what the experience should be for a customer coming in. They need to know what is expected from the company. So I think there should be at least, a good amount of training in the first couple of months when you're hired on, if you're freshly new to the industry and to the business, and know what's expected, but also know the culture that of the company, and know what's expected. Because if you know what's expected and get into that groove at the beginning, then you're more likely to stay in that mindset and stay in that worth ethic, so that you can make sure that you're keeping up to par on what the standards are required from the Ritz-Carlton.
Awesome. I think there's no better training than on-the-job training.
I agree. Totally agree there.
The problem is if your initial 7-day training isn't good, then you're going to really mess it up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the next couple of questions are kind of together. Why is Collins pushing for a longer time frame? And how much influence should $700 million buy Collins in telling Ritz-Carlton how to run their training program?
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
So just thinking about it off the top of my head, I think $700 million buys you quite a bit of influence. At the same time, you hired the Ritz-Carlton for a reason.
Yeah.
They're the Ritz-Carlton. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes this one a little tough. And I think Collins is pushing for a longer time frame because, was said earlier, he doesn't want to start at 50% capacity. He wants to start at 80% capacity.
Hello.
Hello? Hey, Nathan, how's it going?
Life
Right.
is good. Hi.
Okay, next question. How much more time do we think it would take to get the staff ready to handle the 80% capacity versus 50%?
I think I don't know when they'd be ready exactly, but I think it needs to happen quick just because they need to be running at a more efficient rate, you know? Um, I would say, I don't know, within like 3 weeks they need to be doing that. Like you said, though, I feel like they need to be bringing some other people in to kind of help them out, you know, with all the slack that's going on.
Yeah, I think for me, the way they're doing it is right. I don't think they should start at full capacity. I mean, I just don't think you'd be able to keep your same service level
hmm
for the new employees that you would be able to if they kind of learn how to ramp it up.
The thing is, though, I think I remember reading that they always kept the same like staff level. You know, all like they ran the place as if it was running at 80% or I don't know, just like as if the hotel was full, so there was no shortage.
Right,
So
but they didn't have
experience,
that's how they did it. They ran it as if it was at 80%, but it was really only at 50% capacity,
right?
so that the employees could get up to speed on how it's going to work. And then they slowly added capacity, so it wasn't like they just threw them into the deep end of the pool and said swim.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I mean, I guess they kind of have to take it kind of slow just to maintain that high level of quality, so that the staff can get caught up and everything.
I think so.
I'm just not sure how long that would take. I have no idea.
I don't know if it should be lengthened. I mean, that's the problem, right? You're never going to know if you're there unless you jump in and do it.
Yeah.
That's why I think the 50% capacity thing is smart. So that's kind of it. The last part is the conclusion section. And it wanted whoever the leader was supposed to be to kind of do some research on the Ritz-Carlton and see how it's gone since then. But I don't think that's been done because I wasn't supposed to be the leader, so I don't know. I didn't research it at all. I just Googled the Ritz-Carlton, Washington, D.C., and it looks pretty good. I'm looking on TripAdvisor.com to see if there's so it looks like out of 767 reviews, 440 are good, are excellent, I mean. That's a pretty good ratio, I think.
Yeah.
And like 3/4 of them are either excellent or very good.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good reviews too. I'm checking too. I wonder how much it is a night there. Just
Oh, it's probably. I think the one by me, the one by where I live, is like $300 or $400 a night, just for a regular room. And then if you want, oh, so I'm on like Booking.com. It's $400 a night.
I'm reading a bad review.
Reserve now. Let's see how much it costs. So the lowest rate I see on the website is for a deluxe room for $400 a night, and the highest one I see is for the Ritz-Carlton suite with club lounge access for $8,000 a night.
Oh my gosh. That's okay.
If only I could just lay down $8,000 in a night. You know what I mean? Wish I had a salary that much.
I'm sure that's for like ambassadors and stuff, and
Oh,
big time
no.
business guys, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Crazy.
Jeez.
Anyway, that's kind of it. Since we don't have as many people, I don't know. There's not really any other questions to discuss.
Okay, guys. I'm sorry. What time is it for you all?
It's 9
It's
o'clock.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in California.
Okay. Is there a meeting?
8 o'clock in Georgia.
Here is
You
9.
guys start at 7 or something?
Where are you at, Ryan? Where are you at?
Arizona? Mesa?
So you would be.
Oh, is it because we all had daylight savings and he didn't?
Yep.
That's
No,
why.
that's probably why.
I come in, I was like, wait, you guys sound like you've been talking about this for a while. I'm so
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
You're an hour
Because you're
behind. So
late.
yep, we
Oh, jeez. I'm
the
sorry.
daylight savings is what threw us off. No wonder we're.
Is that why we're
No
missing?
wonder there's like nobody here.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, okay. I mean, I can cover next week if you guys want. I don't know who did it today. I'm guessing Mike did it, or.
Yeah, no, we just kind of threw it up there since we had that little issue with the time.
Okay. Well, all right. Interesting.
All right, well, I
Okay.
guess that's it then. Thanks, everybody.
All right, sounds
Yeah.
good.
So let's plan on 8 o'clock. So 7 o'clock your time, Ryan. 7 o'clock your time,
7
Mike.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
See you
All
guys.
right.
Good. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Peace.
All right, bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.